Altos Odyssey and Altos Adventure are two of the most beautiful, engaging, and relaxing games I've ever played. In these two Peruvian alpaca herding slash snowboarding simulator-ish games, you just slide down a mountain collecting alpacas, or slide across dunes and jump over caverns and skid on all sorts of different things. The concept is definitely out there, and the art style is incredibly beautiful. But beyond that, these two games are extremely simple, yet very complex. Before I continue talking about this game's controls and its amazingness, I should just clarify that I'm not very good at these two games. For some background, there are two Alto games, which means yes, this video will have a ton of tags. Both were developed by Team Alto based in the UK and published by Noodlecake Studios and Snowman. The first one was Altos Adventure, the one in the snowy area, published in 2015. The second was Altos Odyssey, the one in the desert area, published in 2018, which bagged the BAFTA for Best Mobile Game. They're both mobile games, but also exist on PC. The Alto games have a very simple input structure. And by very simple, I mean there are only two inputs. You can click to jump, or you can hold down to do a backflip. That's all there is. There's nothing else to it. And that's what makes it so engaging. The fact that it's so simple to get in is what keeps you hooked. But in order to pull off more and more elaborate combos, in order to build up speed, you need to master those differences. If you're jumping across a cavern and you do a backflip instead of a jump, you might fall. But if you don't do a backflip, you might not be able to get as high, and you can't build up as much speed. Doing a backflip increases your speed, but it can also slow you down if it goes wrong. If you hold it down for too long and you aren't ready to land, you'll fail. So, even though it's very simple, it's very complex when you get down to it. Just one input can do so much in this game. Now, there is more to the game than just that one input. There is a store and quests you can fulfill, but those are sort of besides the point. The store is, in my opinion, largely unnecessary. I'm not really interested in buying a helmet so I can survive a crash, or a pickaxe so I can climb out of a cavern. That would ruin the flow. Yes, I have to start right from the beginning every time when I fail, but that just means that I'm right back into the flow. There's nothing that stops it, really. I can take a second to breathe and get back to it. Furthermore, all of the items that you buy in the store are one time only. So if I buy a helmet and then crash very quickly, it's gone. I just wasted something. So that would require a part of my brain to consider that, and furthermore would cause stress as you think about everything that you wasted in order to get there. Whereas in the base game, if I don't buy anything, if I'm just surfing, well, snowboarding, well, is it snowboarding if it's on sand? No, because it's sand, not snow. Whatever, let's boarding down this hill without having to consider any external factors. That's just bliss. It's such... There's no real... Well, there's definitely a word for it. I just can't think of one. It's like... It's vibing, man. Just vibing. Whereas if you had to consider what you've spent in order to get this far and what you're wasting, that's stressful. And failure in this game isn't stressful, because failure just means you start over. Initially, there's a bit of stress in it, but you're not really working towards something. It reminds me of downwell in many ways. In downwell, I never really cared about all of the extras I was gaining with the gems I was gathering. As such, I would only try to get more gems in order to spend them. And on right then in the moment upgrades. But then, for instance, if I would buy a rice ball and then immediately take damage, I felt like I wasted it. In this way, that caused stress. But in a way, that's what downwell is trying to achieve. It's trying to have you, in some part of your brain, think about item management and stuff like that. Alto doesn't bother with this. This isn't to critique downwell. Downwell is still great in its beautiful simplicity. But Alto doesn't have that layer of resource management and stress. In essence, Alto is just about the gameplay. Everything on top of that, the rewards, the achievements, are all secondary. So much so that I'm only going to touch upon them. You can unlock new surfers or boarders, or what, you can unlock new characters. You can buy stuff as mentioned, but I don't really care which character I'm playing as. I don't care if they have some kind of effect. It makes me think of other mobile games. Not that this is a mobile game, but like Temple Run. You could unlock characters in Temple Run, and I cared in Temple Run. But in Alto, I don't. I'm not really working towards anything in Alto. I'm just playing this game. Just pressing a button or holding it down in order to achieve different things. And through that, I hit this blissful play. Beyond that, even though Alto does take up a considerate amount of your brain power as you're trying to hit the right combos and get as far as possible, it doesn't take up so much that it's all you're thinking about. You can think about something completely different while playing Alto. It would be a perfect game for streaming or something, as you could talk to people while playing this game. Beyond that, Alto is also just visually beautiful. Its color palette is very simple and not that diverse, but in that it maintains this simplistic beauty. The backgrounds are interesting and engaging. Everything's drawn so beautifully. That's another one of the places in which Alto excels. It's visually beautiful. Its soundtrack is also beautiful. It's this extremely calming music. I can't really describe it because I'm not a musical expert or anything. It's semi-electro-y, but it also has flutes and stuff. The beauty of Alto is a combination of its simplicity and of its visual design. The studio did such a good job creating this game, well, these two games, that are in themselves rather different from one another. There are two Alto games. Alto's Adventure is the snowy one, where you're collecting alpacas and trying to run away from your elders. Whereas Altos Odyssey is way chiller. The only objective in Altos Odyssey is getting as far as you can, and also achieving points by collecting coins and by grinding and jumping over things. But unlike Adventure, it doesn't have the alpacas. It's a small difference, but it makes it feel more lonely. Altos Odyssey does remind me of the Odyssey. Like Odysseus, who is alone going across the Mediterranean, our character is alone, sand surfing across these dunes and jumping on old ships. The loneliness makes the experience feel more pungent. It's almost emotional. And again, this is very strange for such a simplistic game. A game that doesn't have a story, that doesn't have a complex input system. It doesn't have characters with backgrounds and motivations. It has none of that. But it has emotion. Because essentially, Alto is a mirror. It reflects what you're thinking, how you're feeling. It reminds me of this one time I was playing Minecraft as a kid, and I was alone. There were no villagers, there was no anyone. I was playing on my own, and it was just me and the music. And I felt something. Alto does that same thing for me, but without all of the distractions that would prevent that. I'm in the gaming zone. I'm engaged in what's happening. But at the same time, I'm just chilling. And in a way, that's difficult to do. I don't get that from games like Mario or Downwell, even though Downwell is probably the closest one. It's very unique for me in terms of its ability to do that. And beyond that, its beauty, its style, is just impressive. Alto is just a unique game. It has a unique concept. It has a simple input system, beautiful design and stylings. There are very little things I would compare to Alto. Again, as I said, the only one that comes up is Downwell. If you know any games that are like this, please leave them in the comments. I'd love to check them out. Simple games are beautiful. And oftentimes, I find myself wanting more simplicity in a lot of the games I play. Sometimes it's just too stressful to think about which ammo type goes where, to think about what to do, where to move your troops. There are many games that I enjoy that are quite a lot like this. I enjoy games like Bad North or Into the Breach, but they're not calming. They don't have the same effect for me. They aren't as serene. That's the word I will use to describe Alto. It took me a while to get to it, but that's the one. It's serene. It has this quality of calm beauty that is amazing. And even though I'm not good at it, even though I fail so often at it, I don't care. Because these failures, these tiny, tiny setbacks, don't affect me as much as they would if I had something to manage, if I was dealing with a character, if I was losing something. You lose, you start over. There's nothing more to it. In a way, that's where you can see its roots as a mobile game. Something that's easy to pick up and put down. Something that has very little for you to consider long term. It's perfect in that medium. But it's perfect anyway. Whether you were to play it on Xbox or on PC or wherever. It just is calming. Its sereneness isn't lost. I would really recommend that you get the Alto collection. I know it's available on the Epic Games Store. I don't know if it's available on Steam. It's also available on iOS and Android as far as I know, so get it. And really, thanks to Team Alto. This is an amazing work, and you guys did a great job. Well, so that's the end of this video. Thank you to everyone who watched this video. I put quite a lot of work in it. This is my first time using a more professional editing software and also recording voiceovers. This was all a bit nerve-wracking. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sadly, this wasn't the music from Alto. I couldn't find it, and if I could, I didn't really want to spend money in getting it. So I made this music myself in GarageBand, which is why it's not that good. But yeah, please subscribe to my channel. I have some other projects coming up. I'm planning on doing some videos on some other topics, including on some films and other games. And also check out the description. I'm going to be putting some videos that I think are relevant in a way that I think kind of build off the themes I'm working on here. And I also want to continue this kind of like thing about Serenity Serenity, as it were. So yeah, definitely check all that out, and thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye.